We can do it. Yes, we can. We can change things throughout the land. But we all must lend a hand. We can do it. Oh, yes, we can. Oh, your neighbor over there, a bit bewildered, but he cares.
Hi, my name is Linda Weltner, and you are watching Changing Our World. Today we're going to be tackling a little from the side a contemporary problem, which is the influx of young children coming across the border from Mexico and causing such conflict and such upset. And I don't think the media has even attempted to explain why these children are taking such a dangerous journey and what could be so bad in their own countries. Well, this morning we have Brian Orr, a pediatrician, who is the chair of the board for fundraising for the New England region for an organization called NPH, which runs orphanages in Latin America. And they seem to be part, not of the problem, but part of the answer. So Brian, do you want to tell us a little bit about how this system works?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And it's a wonderful system that takes in kids who are orphaned and abandoned in Central American countries and Latin America and provides them a home. It is historically called an orphanage, but it is not. It's a home for these kids. And these kids are brought in, for example, the one in Honduras, one of these horrible countries where we're having a lot of trafficking of kids out of that country to our country. But this orphanage system has 600 kids that it is raising as one of their own, with a premise of unconditional love, where the kids are provided schooling, health care, clothing, good health and nutrition, brushing their teeth, healthy environment, and they are incredible. It is an incredible system where these kids grow up and are mature. I know kids who have become doctors, lawyers, agricultural specialists, and they are contributing members of their own society. And all of them know that as they grow, they can be contributing members to their own society. They do not have to emigrate.
And it's an interesting thing. The children are not up for adoption. And why is that?
Adoption is a problem for a number of reasons. Number one, when kids grow up in an orphanage with adoption, a lot of times the kids who are left behind are not the handsomest or prettiest or the smartest. So there's somewhat of a brain and a beauty drain from orphanages that give kids up for adoption. That leaves a circumstance where their kids who are left behind feel left behind.
Losers. Feel like they're losers.
Not only that, a lot of orphanages throughout the world have garnered a bad reputation for trafficking kids and other things. And that's why this system is one I've gravitated to, because as a pediatrician, I could see that they were caring for the kids, really caring for the kids, and caring for them well. These kids are happy. You don't see kids with tears and advertisements for this orphanage system with kids with sad faces. These kids are happy. They're warm. You can't be on the orphanage for seconds without a kid grabbing your hand, say, "Who are you? Come with me," wanting to know your name. It's just a wonderful place and just some place that is a home away from home for me.
So the kids have a feeling of security, right? Once they're there, they're safe until when?
Until they are ready to go. They are not kept there. They're free to go if they want to. Some kids get mad and say, "I'm leaving home," just like the kids who want to run away from our houses. But when they realize, hey, you know what I have out there is really problematic, and what I have here is security. There is security. This is one of the main things. Kids have come from really traumatic backgrounds. Kids come from drugs, lost parents because of AIDS or because of murders. I know kids who have seen their parents shot, and they come to the orphanage, and here is a place where they can feel that they are secure, they're safe, they're going to be given love, they're going to be given what they need to grow and to become a member of their society.
And they're not different from the rest of there must be that feeling of shared backgrounds. Do you think that creates a kind of solidarity?
What there is a solidarity, absolutely a solidarity, whether it's about sharing their backgrounds or at least saying, we're here together, this is us, this is our family. It is a family. They really grow up as a family. And as the kids grow up and they even go to college off the campuses of these orphanages, they see each other in the college and they group together, they go to the cafeteria together, or they see each other in the city and they say, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. They are family. They really are family. Some of the kids at the orphanage in Honduras say to me that, you know what, I have 600 brothers and sisters.
And tell about how you try to make it more home-like, the aim of eventually converting these into not so much regulated as just family-friendly.
Yeah. The orphanages started in Mexico and Honduras and then Haiti. In those, they started with bigger dormitory type things, and I've seen some of them, and originally they had even triple bunks in some of these dormitories. Kids were still very happy and felt family, but as they expand into other orphanages, now they have have expanded to 9 countries. Dominican Republic, Haiti, 4 Central American countries, Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia. In all those countries, they're now trying to have each of the homes limited to about 20 kids, with bedrooms and bathrooms and a more common area and a comedor where they eat and a kitchen. So they're more a family style, much like a home. I've been to the one in the Dominican Republic, and you look at it and it looks like a home. They even have backyards, front yards, porches, so that it's much more family style. And this is just a further growth of their system. They've been functioning for 35 years. And so this is a growth of their system more into a much more family-oriented style. And so that it really does feel like when you're visiting these homes that you're visiting a family.
And there are adults in that home setting. How does that work?
There are what are called tias and tios. And
I know my Spanish, uncles and aunts.
Aunts and uncles. And these are people who are employed to grow up with the kids. And these, I've known many of them, and they've been there for years and years. I've been going to these orphanages for 10, 12 years.
You know why they stay? Because they're safe, because they get food and lodging, right? Mm-hmm. And they have all these children to give love to. You know, right. I wouldn't think you'd want to change that if the pay is adequate.
And it's a solid employment. It is a solid employment. They're very respectable in each of these countries about how they employ people. They give them very good benefits. And so these people stay in the houses with the kids, and they might be 3 TOs and TIAs per house, and they'll go on a rotation on who's staying over what nights of the week, and they're usually 1 week on, 1 week off, etc. So that they stay overnight with the kids. The kids have somebody to go to in the middle of the night if they wake up scared or wet the bed or whatever.
Or to mediate if there's an argument.
Or mediate if there's an argument, for sure. Yeah.
What about schooling? Do they go to the regular schools?
Many kids come in and they don't have a lot of schooling. They are tutored. My daughter just worked there. Eileen, my daughter worked there, just got home 2 days ago from working in Honduras, and she tutored kids.
And she was a TIA?
She was a tutor.
A tutor, okay. Helped, TIA and tutor.
She helped the kids get up to grade par so that they could be mainstreamed into school. The kids go through school and through high school. In the school, they get taught a trade, electrical, woodworking, painting, some kind of trade, as well as the top kids will have a chance to go to university. And that's where the kids go to become a physician or lawyer or whatever else.
But we don't have that in our system. Often the foster kids are taken care of until they're 18 and then they're out.
Well, not only that, our system, this is a big issue. We talk about a lot of industrialized countries going away from the homes. And why don't we have homes like this? People have asked me. And we don't, because we've gone away from the orphanage type homes. But our foster care system is a shameful thing. We have less than 80% of kids in our foster care system do not graduate high school. It's a shame. It's a shambles. And so for us to think in an industrialized country that we have some kind of system that is better than these homes is just ludicrous.
80% of the foster children do not graduate from high school?
They may get a GED after, but once they're done at 18, they do not graduate high school before 18. Some may go back and get their GED, some may go back and get it later on, but a grand majority of our kids in foster care never graduate high school.
So these kids, though, are assured that they will get an education and that when they leave the orphanage grounds, which is sort of like a campus, right? An enclosed campus, that they will be employable, right? They
will be employable. And not only that, the orphanage system does internships during summer times where they get kids who are going to go into a trade in with a job to do some electrical work and have some on-the-job training. I've talked to some people who've employed some of our NPH kids, and they say these kids are well-trained, they've learned a work ethic, and they're really solid employees. This is the thing that even the kids, if you go through some of my pictures and stuff, I take pictures of the little kids working. And you say, well, geez, look, they're making this little kid rake or this little kid pick up some of their refuse. These kids learn a work ethic. They come home from school and they have chores. They do their chores every day. These kids are brought up to say, you know what, this is our home, we have pride in it, and we're going to work to make sure it's better. After high school, they come back and do a year of service at the orphanage. Okay, I mean, this system, we don't advertise it. We don't, you don't see grand billboards. We don't go anywhere with this. You're not seeing it like the United Way. But everybody should be looking at NPH USA and looking at this as a place to donate because it's an amazing organization.
The kids come back and they would do like carpentry and cooking and stuff like that?
They could come back. They could come back and do tutoring. They could work in the school. They could be a tia or a TO for a year. They do any number. They can work in the kitchen. The kitchen produces 600 meals 3 times a day for these kids. That's 1,800 meals.
And then they give another year after high school, right?
After high school, they do another year of service before going on to university. So these kids are, in fact, it might be good for them. They have more years in the orphanage in a safe circumstance. When they graduate, they're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and it's probably a good system for them. Plus, they learn this work ethic that I give back to my community.
All right, now, is this secondhand knowledge? This is what they tell you, or you have seen it yourself?
I've been there. I've been going to this system once or twice a year for the last 10 to 12 years. I was in Honduras Orphanage twice this year. I was in the Dominican Republic Orphanage once this year, each for a week at a time. I've worked in the clinics. I know the kids. I have friends who've grown up there. I'm Facebook friends with some kids who have grown out of the orphanage and are now in their working life. So this is firsthand knowledge.
And your daughter's firsthand
And my daughter was just there for a year, and I visited her there twice. That's why I went to Honduras twice this year.
And as a pediatrician, tell me about the medical care that you provide.
The medical care has expanded in 2 places. One is Haiti has the only children's hospital in Haiti. So, and
I
NPH runs
that all the hospitals in Haiti were destroyed by the earthquake.
A good number of them. In fact, the Haitian NPH hospital, St. David's Children's Hospital, had a minor damage, so they had to take on all these surgeries. They did 10,000 surgeries within 3 months of the earthquake. And now they continue to be the only children's hospital in Haiti. It's the only place where kids in Haiti can get treatment for leukemia. Besides that, the orphanage in Honduras runs a surgical center that has been sponsored by Peter Daly, an orthopedic surgeon.
Tell the story of how that clinic came to be.
Well, that is because when I first went to Honduras, they had a very meager clinic. But the head of the orphanage asked me about a child who was walking with her legs really in an inverted V. And I said she needed surgery. Short time after that, an orthopedic surgeon, Peter Daly, came down from Minnesota and was consulted by the head of the orphanage, who said, well, my pediatrician Fred said she needed surgery. He said, yes, she does. I can't do it, but I know somebody who can. He brought her up to Minnesota. She lived with him for 6 months, had her surgery and recovered, came back about a year or so later. I saw her playing soccer on the courts in Honduras. And he started to raise money for the surgical center because he said, why should these kids have to come to the United States for this surgery?
Bring them up one at a time, all that airfare.
Right. We should do it there. And so he started doing this Holy Family Surgical Center, which now has brigades come down from the United States with surgical teams from all over the United States that come down and do surgeries right there. State-of-the-art surgical suites.
Who sponsors those brigades? How do they get organized?
He does most of the organizing, and he does. And now there's a whole fund that sponsors that. You probably can check that out on the website NPH USA and find out more about it. It's called the Holy Family Surgical Center.
And what kinds of things do you do when you go down there?
I often work in the external clinic because this is kind of my first love. Because when I first started going to Honduras or the Dominican Republic, I worked in very impoverished areas. The external clinic in Honduras is the clinic that services the surrounding community.
So it's not only just for the orphanage?
No, people come overnight, stay outside the clinic and wait overnight to be seen. These are the kids who have rotten teeth, have scabies, have parasites.
Let me just mention, in this book, you will see pictures of the kids from the orphanage. The first thing you will notice is they have wonderful teeth. And we don't even give dental care here in this country. It isn't covered.
Right.
And these kids have dentists as well?
That's right. That's right.
Plus you teach them to brush their teeth.
They brush their teeth. You'll see pictures on websites of the kids brushing their teeth. They have good hygiene, good health care, good dental care.
Yeah.
But I work in the external clinic because those kids don't, and that's
Right.
where I feel like my service is most wanted.
So you
needed.
diagnose and live at the, do you live in a hotel or do you live?
No, we stay on the orphanage. There's a place for visitors to stay. I stay there, and I have to walk a mile to the clinic every day, but I walk the mile and do my work, and then.
Because the clinic is in the town.
It's in the town. It's outside the orphanage. Yeah.
Now, who came up with this idea? This sounds very different from our idea of foster care, what we do with children. It sounds very different from the orphanages that we have images of, you know,
Yep.
like in Oliver,
Yes.
run on this strict impersonal basis. How did this, who conceived of this?
This was started by Father Wasson in Mexico, and he had a child who stole from the collection plate. The police brought him to Father Wasson and said, "Father, this is the child who stole from you." And he said, "Well, give him to me," and that's what the start of the orphanage was.
This is like they've made a whole play about this called Les Miserables.
That's right. He's a wonderful man, and he just passed away about 2 or 3 years ago. And his legacy now is going to be the expansion of these homes in multiple countries. These homes create an environment where kids learn a trade and a living and an occupation where they can stay and be contributing members of their own society. Who could not support that kind of idea?
And that's where the kind of philosophy of unconditional love came from, right?
That's
that
right.
even if the kid
Exactly.
stole from you. So
That's right.
do you kick many kids out?
No, not many kids are kicked out at all. There are kids who want to leave. There are kids who want to go back to their families, and kids are not incarcerated there. They're not. If they want to go back, to their community. They're allowed to go back. The orphanage will make sure they're connected with some kind of family member, whether that is a true aunt or a true uncle or whatever.
Oh, so that they don't just say they are and then just get lost.
That's
in the
right.
system.
That's right. They're going
And can
out
they
to
come
something.
back if they want to?
They can come back. Oftentimes, they can come back. They would have to go through a process to say, "Are you really willing to stay this time?"
Right.
Or, but it's not like they keep these kids in a guarded. They're free to leave if they want to.
And the unconditional part is, even if you've rejected us, if you come back, we still love you.
Yes,
Bringing tears to my own eyes.
I know kids who have left, got into some trouble, came back to the orphanage for help, and got the help they needed. It's really an incredible system. People should
And
just
Kelly
check
just
it out.
come back from Honduras, where both of us, it turns out, have gone on human rights delegations.
Right.
And looked at me about 5 years ago now, and when did you go on the? You went a long time ago.
Long
Mitch
time
was
ago.
in the 70s, right?
90s,
Yeah.
90s, late 90s.
But what is the situation that these kids who are coming here from Honduras are fleeing from?
The kids are fleeing from a desperate situation. There is a street war going on. This is narco trafficking is heavy in
80% of all the
cocaine
that comes here
goes
comes
through
Honduras. Talk about billions of dollars.
Right. So it's a very, very dangerous situation on the streets in Honduras.
And they're ruthless.
They are ruthless. If you join a gang and want to leave, there's only one way out. They will kill you. And so parents of these kids in these countries are saying, go to the United States. It's safer for you to cross the Rio Grande.
Because the drug people are recruiting.
They're recruiting
kids.
heavily. Yes.
Right. They want big kids for bodyguards. They want little ones to transport that won't get questioned.
It's gang against gang in the streets of Tegucigalpa. It is a desperate situation. Not only Tegucigalpa, but San Pedro Sula.
And from my visit there, I know too that the government itself runs its own death squads. So if you disagree with the government, you got the same choice: either shut up or be killed. Because two of the people that we met during our trip are no longer alive. They were murdered, and these people just opened fire on you if you're walking along the street, or they kidnap you and you're never seen again. So if you're not in trouble with the drug gangs, you've got this completely corrupt, illegitimate government. That the U.S. supported, actually, underneath all the pretense that we weren't.
It is a very tough situation because it really is a war, and there are some people who have suggested that these kids who have come here should be viewed as refugees. And in some ways, if you look at the situation on the ground in some of these countries, you could really see that they really are refugees.
Concerned about all these youngsters coming over, and I've seen the reports or propaganda that they're bringing illnesses and all kinds of terrible things to the U.S. What can we do about that, and how can people help you?
Well, I think the main thing is supporting places like these homes with NPH. I think that's the way people can help. These homes help kids to be contributing members of their own society with a good, solid educational background, and this is the way we can help. We can support these homes, support people on the ground that will help kids in these countries. And you can visit the website www.nphusa and contribute. You can contribute, you can support a child, you can sponsor a child, you can look at how you can visit one of the homes. There's many, many, many ways to help out. You just have to go to the website.
And I think we're going to look it up, and you can pick your own child.
You can pick your own child.
So you see the faces of the kids, decide the country you want to visit, and support them for about how much a month?
It's about $1 a day. And I
right.
support 4 children right now.
And have you met them all?
I've met them all, and they're wonderful, lovely people. They all know me as their sponsor, so they call me Padrino or Godfather, and they recognize me. Yeah, it could. It's in the good sense. So they come and recognize me and greet me, and I always try to spend particular time with them when I visit.
And it says in this little handbook that $100, if you contribute $100, you can give medication for an HIV plus child for 1 month, or you could deliver milk to 10 children for a month, or you could get athletic shoes for 5 children. And if you have lots of money, 1,000 would buy 10 desks and chairs for a classroom. So, and is this on the website?
Yes, there's all different programs and different ways that people can give money, and it's all through the website.
And the thing that's impressive is what accreditation have you gotten that proves that you don't spend too much money on administration?
Charity Navigator gives NPH a 4-star rating. That means we do not give too much money for our overhead, and more of the money goes right to the kids.
And that's the key, because it's so hard to find a charity where you feel that the basic amount of money you're giving is actually going to the children. And the Red Cross is a good example where so much is spent on advertising, so that this way, if you give, you can have a direct contact with this child. And I suppose if the kid could get a visa 10 years from now, he could come visit you, you can go visit them.
And you can write back and forth.
Oh, and you can use it to improve your Spanish.
That's right, exactly.
Are any of these countries English speaking? Haiti, what do they speak?
Haiti speaks Creole, and all the rest of the countries are Spanish speaking.
I am very impressed, and I am going to end up, this is going to cost me a lot of money, I'm going to end up sponsoring a child, and I think Jack and I will plan a visit. Jack speaks beautiful Spanish.
Oh, great.
If I'm immersed in the culture, I can speak it after a while. I have to, I lose it all when I come back to the U.S. and don't use it. But think about this. This could really make a big difference, not only in a child's life, but really in helping our own country by not having this problem of thousands, tens of thousands of children coming here. Glad to have spent this time with you.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
Keep your eyes on the prize to the end, 'cause the problems can all be solved with dedication and a little resolve. Obstacles slowly dissolve when we all just get involved. We can do it. Yes, we can. We can change things throughout the land, but we all